We're waiting on people to come in. Thank you for the subscribers, everyone. Did it freeze? I think it did, folks. Unbelievable. Okay. Alright, I see how it is. Tonight's gonna be one of them nights, ain't it? That's what happens when I actually took the servers off too. It sure freaking did. Please stand by while we're sitting here standing by. Yeah, so on. That's stupid. Please subscribe, like, and share. Earthquakes are hitting around the world. The West Pacific Ocean is rocking really hard tonight, folks. Dale. Period. Alrighty. Wow. Give it a couple. Hold on. Technical difficulties here in South Alabama. Computer froze, folks. It's alright. We're going to be alright. We're going to make it. Yeah. Be alright. So people start coming in, I'll start going. We are, I don't know how to explain this, guys. We are about to be rocked into another world. Holy cow, man. What's going on? Alright. See if we can get this thing going. We're having problems tonight, folks. Shoot. Really? Okay, there you go. Thanks for the like. Who's on? Alright. We got big earthquakes happening. Magnitude 6.0 earthquakes activity strikes across Pacific, Alaska to California. Pacific unrest. Get ready, folks. You need to share this, everyone, whoever's in here. If you don't share anything, then you're just like Facebook and YouTube. You want people dead. That's how I put it. But here we go. I don't know who's in here. Is that Amy? All right, Amy. Amy, I froze. I had everything set up, but I froze, so just give me time. Shoot. I had it freeze last night. I don't understand. I'm not even using the internet. That's stupid. Well, it looks like there's only one person wanting to watch you. Maybe the pickup. I put it on Facebook. I picked up a couple of people from Facebook wanting to subscribe to me and messaging me, and good grief. Austin's not, I think Austin's scared, man. I think he's scared. And that's okay. I feel for him. I really do. I wish they would bring back the paint booth. I really do. But the trollers fucked that up, and that's why I'm going after the trollers. You're gonna love this game. You're gonna see what I've done. Every troller come in on me, and I wreck them every time. So, what is going on with this thing tonight? Oh, now it's pissing me off. Awesome, but I'm gonna tell you right now, he keeps on backing out and coming back in and then backing out. He's not gonna get anywhere. He's got to stay in one spot. I think he's hiding it from his family. I really do. And I hope he listens to me and he sees this. But when California gets into the ocean, and it's going to, the hydraulics is going to be working, the explosions, the hydraulics, the hydrogen bomb, everything is ready to roll. We'll see. Alright, we're going. Shoot. I tried to go a while ago, but I froze. So. Who knows? Alright. Try this. This is my Superman. I took Lowe's off because Lowe's is not going to be Jimmy Johnson's sponsor. So I put American flag on there. I think that's appropriate for a Superman number 48 Chevrolet. Enjoy and thank you for the 2 likes. It's time to rock and roll, folks. All right. And with further ado, I call him Dutch. Earthquake 6.0 earthquake activity strikes across Pacific Alaska to California Pacific unrest. Part 3. How does that do that every time? Okay.
Hello, everybody. It is 10:05 p.m. Central Time on the 19th of July, 2018. Here on the Earthquake 3D live stream Thursday.
I call him Aquaman.
Friday morning. The week is almost over. Hope you had a good one. And I've had a up and down roller coaster of a week, and it is tremendous. Take a look at the screen in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to see a lot of lightning going on there. We're looking north from our lake cam, and man, oh man, getting creamed there, guys. We've got a lot of storms going on in the Midwest. Be safe and have a plan for severe weather on top of your earthquake plans. And that being said, let's dive into the earthquake activity that has struck since last night. If you're not aware of this, I issue earthquake forecasts for new areas to be on watch throughout the week, and we do the forecast every Sunday night, and then we follow up throughout the week to see the areas that are hit versus missed. So let's start over here in the West Pacific, where we have our deep earthquake activity that puts the whole plate into motion. This is where our action starts, down below the plate. And we have a deep earthquake that struck last night going into this morning, and that's a 4.4 magnitude. In its own right, it sounds pretty innocuous, just a 4.4 earthquake way down below the plate. Well, unfortunately, these deep earthquakes have a welling up pressure effect. There's a force that's created down below the plate that comes up on the underside of the plate and causes shallower, larger earthquakes to spread out from the deep earthquake epicenter. And so we can see 1 to 1.2 magnitude larger earthquakes off this depth.
Thanks for the heads up, Amy, on
our
this
conversion chart, which should come in pretty handy if you want to take a look at the screen. Look over to the 5th column, over into the 6th column, right at the middle of the chart, And you'll see it goes in depths and magnitudes. So we need to add on 1 to 1.1 magnitude to this deep quake. And if we add on 1 to 1.1, we get up to 5.5.
Hello.
And a 5.5 is likely, but there's
Judge is
another
Aquaman.
deep
I'm
earthquake
Batman.
that struck
Well,
next to this.
right now I'm in the Superman car
a
driving
deep
for
4.7.
Superman.
We have to add these two together since they're both approximately at the same depth at the 500 kilometer depth range, which means there's going to be something in the 5.9 to 6.0 range striking between the current 5.9 and these deep quakes. So these deep quakes are a main pusher not only for the area around where the deep quakes are, but then spreading out in all directions from the deep quakes. We see activity take place over the course of days. So today, first, to start off, the deep quake. Then, next to it, a 4.9, a 5.0 earthquake struck right at the pinnacle tip of the what I would call the plate boundary between the Pacific.
We're gonna
and
make
the
it. I'm like
New
your
Zealand
Charlie's
plate, or
Angels.
Zealandia,
We're gonna make it,
as they're
ladies.
calling it now. Also, speaking of New Zealand, how about a 4.3 earthquake striking the very far south tip of the South Island? That's pretty interesting. We're looking for a mid-range 4 to upper 4 to strike on the plate boundary by the end of the weekend. The plate boundary is right here where the red line comes across, goes across the backside or western side of New Zealand and comes down to where our 4.3 earthquake is. So we already have a 4 striking in New Zealand, but this is way off from where I'm looking. I don't think we're done yet. I think if this is a 4.3 down at the south tip of the island, that the center is going to come under greater pressure, and we're going to be looking at something larger than this, clearly, striking in the middle of the plate boundary. So we still have a couple more days to go. Now let's dive into the largest earthquakes of the day. I don't know where to start, up in Alaska or here in the West Pacific. Let's start in the West Pacific since we issued a warning for Katovar volcano right here in the middle of the arrow. Told you guys to keep on watch for upper 5.0 activity. And what did we get? We get a 6.0, 5.3, 4.9, 5.0, 4.8, and the volcano right in the middle, Katovar, which had not erupted in 1,000 years, just came to life 6 months ago. Out of the blue, they said they didn't expect it. Well, there was an earthquake swarm that struck next to it in the days leading up to the eruption. I don't see how they couldn't expect it when other people were looking at the earthquakes publicly online. But that being said, a new 6.0 earthquake, again, significant in size, striking in eastern Papua New Guinea right next to our warned area. Check it off the list if you were keeping.
You're welcome. You're welcome. This is the Drew show. We're about to do the do with the Drew. He's already wrecked me twice. And you don't think I'm going to get him back? Let's watch. Let's watch. I don't get him back until the last lap, I think.
Track of areas that we named. Speaking of areas that were named, how about Java, Indonesia? The island of Java has been hit with a new 5.4, 4.6, and 4.8 right next to our warned spot. We warned Central Java. Why did we warn Central Java? It had been weeks since Java has been hit. Well, there were two different volcanoes erupting, and they still are.
Hey, Amy. And I'm going to tell you this, Lindsay. I'm like Vladimir Putin. I'm really, really nice while you're pushing me and making fun of me and, poking the bear and everything. I'm the same way in the NASCAR game. I let them wreck me, and then I take them out on the last lap where it counts.
Mount Krakatoa, which came to life about 2 weeks ago after no activity for years, and then, or at least a couple of years. And then here, Mount Agung is going over and over and over again. And it came to life, 3 months ago, 4 months ago? Started to erupt, and it has not stopped since. Sandwiched in between the two, we've got a mid-range 5. This is expected. It was part of the forecast. You can check it off the areas that we named on Sunday night. You can go watch the forecast over on my YouTube channel if you want to see the areas that we named, and we named out Java in particular. As we go to the north, check it out. New 5.4 earthquake struck North Philippines, south of Taiwan. This comes after yesterday.
Oh, I'm gonna put him in the wall, right? I'm gonna do it like I took out Earnhardt Dead LOL.
Yesterday's 5.0 and 4.8 over to the east. We've told you this before, and I'll tell you again right now. Whenever we see 5.0 activity or 6s or 4s, we see equal size activity within the same magnitude strike over to the
Wait a
east,
minute. That was the end.
over to the
That was
west,
the last
or over
lap.
to the east, depending
So,
on which side
I
gets
get
struck
him.
first.
I don't
In
take
this
him
case,
out.
Guam got hit
I just
first
get him on the
yesterday
last
with our
lap.
5.0
Clean.
and 4.8.
Like Jimmy
Then
Johnson.
today,
There you go, right here.
5.4 as forces traveling up and across this region. I've used the analogy of a train
All
traveling
mine.
across a trestle.
I like to
over a
think
bridge,
Valvoline,
and there's
3M.
vibrations along the bridge as the
Yeah,
force flows across
Lowe's
the
has
region.
left Jimmy
The
Johnson.
force is
So
flowing across
I like to
both
think the
sides
American
of this
flag
plate boundary, heading to where? Heading
association
up towards
that
Japan.
makes the flags.
Take a look at
Thank
the
you.
last
I like to
day's
think
worth of
Goodyear
earthquakes up in Japan.
and
Do you
Chevrolet.
notice anything missing?
Oh,
We have
Rick
a lot of
Hendrick for letting
activity
me
to the
drive his
south
car
and
for a minute.
nothing up here to the north, except for one thing going on right here, which is Sakurajima. Continuous eruption at Sakurajima for the last couple days. So we have 5 point something activity coming up to the north, 5.4 and a 5.0.
Yes, I did. But I don't win them all now. There's some videos out here that I give the clean drivers some wins, and some women that I raced with online. I pushed them to wins. So if you see me push somebody to the win, you know it's a woman.
As well as an eruption happening here in the middle of all this.
Or a clean driver.
Mess. Well, that means Japan's getting ready to get smacked around a little bit with 5.4, 5.0, and eruptions combined energy. Now, how much is that? Well, if we take the 5.4 plus the 5.0, we get...
Now, this car is pretty interesting. This is a Brock Lesnar anonymous number 2 Ford. I did it for Roger Penske. I enjoyed making this one. I actually made the anonymous face on the car. And yeah, enjoy. This is a wild race too. Bunch of cars in this one.
5.5, that's pretty simple addition there. Then we add in the eruptions at Sakurajima. Each eruption is equal to about one single 5.0 earthquake. So let's say there's been 3 or 4 large blasts that have happened in the past couple days, which there has been. That's to about a 5.4. So if we take a 5.4 plus a 5.4, we get to 5.5. Add in the other 5.0, we get to 5.6. That means 5.6 is likely due in Japan in the middle of our silent zone. So the silent zone goes between the 4.6 and the 5.4. Or let's wait for this to refresh. But the silent zone starts up here.
Well, when you get down here and we get like a kind of lodge, and all of us stay in there and we can play PlayStation together while we're waiting on the world to end or something.
Off the coast of Japan and goes down here to the Philippines where the new 5.4 is. So basically it's between this point and this point. Also, we have another halfway point between this point, 4.6 again, and this point, the 5.0 down to the south. So the halfway point here should be hit by a 5.6, and the halfway point here should be hit by a 5.6. Okay, so get ready for it. It should be happening in the next couple days as this force is transferring up across the region, maybe even.
Did you say your father is a race car driver? You know, my dad went to school for Davey Allison. That's awesome. Man, we stay up all night playing, me and the girls that used to work with me. And one of them was Haters Love Me. I gave her a name. I put an online name for her. And she beat them. She beat them, man. I pushed her to the wins, and I pushed Lindsay to the wins. Not the Lindsay that is on there right now, but another Lindsay. That was my boss. And yeah, we had fun. I had like 4 or 5 girls wanting to race, and they thought, and the race car drivers online thought it was me. Hell no, I'm not gonna be Haters Love Me. I'm gonna be my name, Stonewall and Scorpion Tail and Hurricane Andrew.
Last time, if you live in Japan, now is the time to prepare for mid-range 5, and I hope I got this right. Because if I'm wrong, it should be larger, not smaller. Why am I coming to that determination? Because of all the deep quakes that have happened over the past several days, creating this force up on the underside of the plate. Now let's get up here into Alaska, where we have another direct earthquake forecast hit.
What? Your father races where? We can do that. and pig out on room service. Drag racer from Cedars Rapids, Iowa. Damn. Wow. Okay. Well, that state is getting destroyed by hurricanes. I mean hurricanes, tornadoes, and some crazy flooding right now. Kick out with a beer and yell, "Get her done." Well, you know what? I got goosebumps. Cordova too. Wow.
In this week's forecast, we were calling for up to 6.9 activity to strike in Alaska after months without anything similar. And here we are, we have a 6.0, 5.6, 4.3, 5.0, and a subsequent series of smaller earthquakes, all in the same spot on the tip of the Aleutian Island chain, but really this is mainland Alaska still, not islands yet. So there's our earthquake, and it's within a magnitude. I try to get it down within a magnitude and within 200 miles. And in this case, we're within the magnitude, and we're in the spot where we issued the warning. Therefore, the reason it's being hit is because force coming across from our volcanic eruptions and deep earthquakes that put the whole plate into motion past several days. Don't forget, there were 4 eruptions going on here just over the past day and a half at Shiveluch, Luchatskoy, Karimsky, and Ibeko volcano, just right here alone. That's a lot of force, and I described this on Sunday night. Again, it's Thursday night now, so we have to go back 4 days. 4 days ago, we told you this is a hinge point, and it was going to be hinging this week between the West Pacific and the East Pacific, and that's exactly what's happened today. Now, let's jump all the way over past the West Pacific, go past our volcanic eruptions at Krakatoa and Agung, and go right across Asia because we don't have any earthquakes.
What a name of a country. Yes, I live in Krakatoa. Krakatoa on my ass.
Today, reported out of Asia.
Oh,
We get right
shit.
to the border of China, and we have a lone 2.1 earthquake reported by the EMSC. It says find more information at the USGS in Denver. I don't know where we're going to find that information at the USGS in Denver. This 4.4 over to the west, though, we have it striking right on our letter D. The letter D stands for deep earthquakes, and we're not let down. It is a 200-kilometer deep earthquake, which means there's a likely 4.9 to 5.0 earthquake, which should be striking to the west of this letter D. And where's to the west of the letter D?
That 21 saved the hell out of that car.
And Turkey
Good
all the
grief.
way over here. Well, I would lean towards the middle point, the middle fulcrum point between our two sets of
Ryan
waves.
Blaney
And in this case,
or
this brings us
whoever
right
that
down
is,
here
Paul
to South
Menard.
Iran, going over into Pakistan.
Oh, we hit each other.
That's the spot to watch. Furthermore, over to the west at the Iran-Iraq border, just to the west of Tehran. Over to the west from there, we get into South Europe and Central Europe. Look what happened today. Sicily got
This is
hit
a
by
crazy
two
finish.
earthquakes.
Watch this,
And the
ladies.
earthquakes from our cluster struck in
They say
western
that I can't
Turkey, right at the
drive
mouth of
dirt.
the Aegean Sea.
That
So
only
let's see if we
race
can
at
show this to you.
Talladega. I'm about to show them.
Earthquakes here in
I'm
Sicily.
going to show them a
Pretty
new
obvious,
track.
stands out. Over to the east, though, I have to point this one out to you. This is right up next to the Isle of Lesbos, and down to the south at the Isle of Rhodes. Well, Rhodes has been hit, and so has all the Aegean by the same size activity. We topped out at 4.3, and this 4.3 technically is in Greece, but it's right at the Albania border, following the 4s and 5 that hit in Albania this past week. As forces striking in Albania and Greece,
This is the last lap. Watch
I
this.
think what everybody has noticed is a drop-off in activity in central
They try to
Italy
take me
of
out.
any significant size. The highest we're going is into the mid-range 2 level. That is low for the area. So it appears that seismic force is currently being robbed from Italy and transferred up across around the edge of the craton and going out to the northwest. And it's signified by all of our earthquakes we've talked about over the past few days.
Good night,
Also,
everyone.
it's shown by the lack of earthquakes on the plate boundary at central Italy. I don't think this is going to go on forever, since this swarm is now breaking out in Sicily, letting us know forces coming up finally out of Greece. Well, if there's a swarm here in South Sicily today, then that means in the next couple days we should see a new swarm break out right at central Italy at the Norcia location.
Doesn't tell me who's on
now,
there.
how big is going to go? Well, this swarm to the south is going up to upper 3, so 3.6, 3.7, and a bunch of 2s. Well, probably something similar. It's kind of no-brainer to determine
that was
this.
close.
That if we get it to the south, we should get it to the north on the plate boundary. Okay? Now, before we go any further, let's get out here to the Pyrenees, where we at the Spain-France border with two 2.0 earthquakes. Then we go over to the west and we get a single 3.1 out of the Azores. Where did the 3.1 come from? We just need to go back to the 3.1 that struck a day ago down here in South Europe, Mediterranean. Now today we have a boatload of 3s. You can't even see the 3.1. It's off the feed, greater than 50 earthquakes. So 3.1, it's another 3.1's worth of energy downstream at the termination point. Termination point is where our letter X is. That's why the earthquake is striking right there. No, it's not because of the earth, not because of the X there. The termination point is why the earthquake is striking there. It's a point of least resistance sought out across the plate, starting in Europe and spreading out across South Europe, Gibraltar, and reaching. Now let's jump back over here to the Central Pacific, and before we get into Hawaii, let's go over to Central America. How about this? A new 6.0 earthquake as reported by the Mexican agency, or a 5.7 if we go with the USGS, striking just southeast of Mexico City. Now this goes back into last week's forecast, where we were watching Mexico City for Popocatépetl.
Did you hear that? A 6.0 in Mexico City again. That guy blocked me and wanted to be an idiot. Not good.
Show an eruption and a new near 6.0 earthquake to strike at Mexico City. What did it take? It took 4 days longer. 4 days longer. We told you last week that it would be by Sunday night, and then Sunday night came and went, and it didn't hit. Well, what did it take? It took 4 days. Why did it take 4 days? Popocatépetl started erupting, and that interfered, I think, with the overall seismic flow. I can't prove that. It's just a supposition of mine. What got in the way of the seismic release? Well, a volcanic eruption, of course. It's the only thing that seems to delay our seismic activity or increase it after the eruption happens. So Mexico, you can check it off the list if you were keeping track of areas that I named last week. But I would consider this an earthquake forecast miss because it went 4 days beyond the time that I issued the warning for. I'm very specific. If I don't get it within 200 miles and or the time frame and the magnitude has to be within the magnitude. Those are misses, even though there's the earthquake we were looking for. Sorry, I just hit my microphone there. Tapping the microphone probably blew up someone's ear. Sorry.
By the way, this is Ace Hot Rod trying to race at Daytona when he can't even do nothing but crash each other. He tried to wreck me. I saved it. The 2-car hits head on right there. Ace Hot Rod's a dumbass. He keeps on calling people shit dicks and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, damn, dude, do you realize how many kids? He's gone. That was easy, wasn't it? Easy win. Ace Hot Rod. Well, we had the troller likes to come in here and troll everybody. He didn't even know it was me. And the funny thing is, and I don't usually drop for Jimmy Johnson, I did this surprisingly. And sure enough, I got him on my YouTube channel. So there you have it. Ace Hot Rod got what he deserved finally. He didn't just lose his leg and cussing out and bullying kids and women around here and bullying handicapped people. He just got jacked up. NFL football starts next month. Or is it? That's the question. If this happens in California, there won't be no NFL football.
Go down to the south, though. We have a new 4.5 striking right next to Fuego volcano. And usually, when we get seismic activity of this size next to a volcano, it's the sign of an eruption. but Fuego already blew with the largest blast in 100 years within the past month. It killed hundreds of people. Unfortunately.
Well, thank you, Lindsay and Amy. Do you realize I'm doing this with one eye? Does anybody know that? All my game designs. My left eye is gone, guys. I'm doing this with one eye and they can't even do it with two. That's sad. That is sad. I'm beating these drunks with one eye. I'm beating these trollers. We're gonna lose with one eye. Mistakes were made. All of them. They didn't even realize I was beating them that bad with one eye. Until I finally come out and said, y'all do realize y'all getting beat by a handicapped guy. It pissed them off worse. I thought it's funny. Share that one on Facebook.
It looks, and I said that's on.
Handicapped guy beats the bullies
this
with
is
one
going
eye.
to probably show another blast in the next few days. I don't forecast volcanic eruptions, but when I see earthquakes strike next to volcanoes, I issue warnings for it to be on watch.
Yeah.
So I want you to watch for new blasts at Fuego. Not as
Popeye
big
the
as
Sailor
the
Man.
100-year blast that happened a month ago. Not nearly as big. It's only one earthquake. It's not a swarm like it was last time. Okay. Now let's get into Colombia. Look at our 5.1 earthquake directly in the warned area right at the back side of our large transfer zone arrow. If we take this out to the west, we have three different distinct eruptions going on currently in the last 2 days. Cotopaxi, the Reventador, both here in Ecuador, and out here at the Galapagos, Sierra Negra. Three volcanic eruptions simultaneously going here, and yesterday's 4.0 earthquakes. Well, what did I tell you about the volcanoes? Each volcano equals approximately one 5.0 earthquake as it erupts. How have I come to that determination?
No, I'm not awesome.
When there's
I am the
thousands of
voice
small earthquakes
of the
or
voiceless.
thousands of small tremors that happen in an area as there's an eruption, it has a cumulative total that adds up to approximately a 5.0 earthquake that strikes within a few days after the eruptions happen, usually right next to the volcanoes themselves. Well, what's going on here? We have three different volcanoes setting off three different blasts, each blast equal to a 5. Add three different 5s together, that equals 5.3. So if each blast was slightly smaller than a 5, then that would equal total into a 5.1. Well, or if it's a 5.3 total energy released at the volcanoes, then it travels across a slight distance and goes down to a 5.1. The other possibility is that this 5.1 was really a 5.3. We have three possibilities. All three indicate that pressure is transferring across the region. This will transfer over to the east and strike at our X marks the spot, or right next to it, within the next few days, with approximately the same sized earthquake. So we should see something like a 5.1 pop up on our letter X in the next couple days.
Hold on, what's that?
As force flows up and around South America. But there's one spot in between that still hasn't moved, and I don't know what the heck's going on here, guys. This is a normal spot to be hit, northeast Venezuela, as force flows across the region. If this 5.1 makes the jump all the way out to the X and skips Venezuela, I'm going to begin to think there's been a shift here and that there's something building in the area, okay? So we have to see activity in North-South America right here or somewhere across here, and if we don't, that's a sign of building pressure. The normal way pressure flows, look at our arrows. These have been on here for years. The normal way pressure flows is up and around the craton and out. If it transfers across our straight transfer zone, there's a great amount of pressure building here. That's why we have the big arrow there to begin with. Big arrow shows us the
Venezuela's about to have a big earthquake.
Deep quakes
I feel it.
all the way across the plate. Now you might wonder, how does force get from over here to all?
That's why the United States is going to get them. That's how they do it. That makes sense. They're going to take them down with an earthquake.
All the way over here? Well, it's pretty simple. There's fracture zones that go across the plate. Do you see them? They go east to west. Well, in this case, northeast to southwest, but they're all.
You're only going to hear that from me. Nobody else on.
And they're like superhighways for the pressure to transfer across because they're cracks that start at the surface and go all the way down through into the asthenosphere. The asthenosphere is the magma down below the plate. So when there's force down below the plate coming up from the asthenosphere, and it
Yeah, welcome to the club, not the sandwich club or the bullet club. But welcome to the Peanuts Gang Club.
comes up and hits the underside of the plate, there's fractures in the underside of the plate that allow for that force to come across and hit South America. And so it easily transfers across without losing much force at all, coming from deep fours over to here and getting shallow fives on the opposite side of the plate at the transfer zone. But the force doesn't stop there. It hits the plate and tries to go around the plate, and it does, reaching to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge where it cannot go past. Why can't it go past the Mid-Atlantic Ridge? It's another fracture in the plate that starts at the surface and goes all the way down into the asthenosphere. And it's a gap. There's no way for this to go across this force since it's a fracture that goes all the way through the plate. Therefore, when the pressure hits these X's and at the termination point, it goes through the planet, it gets taken back down through the planet and comes back out the opposite side where we see with new deep earthquakes on the antipode come back out, recycled through and starting the cycle over again. I understand if you're a professional, you're probably rolling your eyes, but these are the facts. This is what we've observed over many years of observation daily. Another proof that pressure transfers around South America, the same-sized earthquake struck down here at the South Sandwich Islands. And we issued a warning for this not only on Sunday night, but just a night ago. We told you to expect the same-sized earthquakes on both sides of South America. And here we are, 5.1 and 5.1
Yes.
with an additional 4.9.
I guess you could say
If you
with the
take this
black sheep,
5.1
and I'm
and
like the
4.9
black
down to the south
bat.
and add them together, it equals
Who
5.149.
in the world
So it doesn't even elevate it
is
if you really
afraid
round it
of
up.
the big black
The
bat?
4.9 doesn't add much more force onto the 5.1.
It's
is what I'm getting
showtime,
at.
folks.
Striking on our letter X, the reason the South Sandwich Islands get hit, all we need to do is trace it back to here and go back a few days. Take all these fours and add them up together. What do they equal? We told you a night ago, they equal a 5.0 earthquake, somewhere very close to it. And what do we get? We get a 5.1, 4.9. Striking right here. So if you live in the South Sandwich Islands, you have to watch South America for the cumulative total to add up here. And then when it gets down to this point, we have a volcano that's right here, Nevada de Chilean. And it sent off sporadic puff emissions this past week as force came down to the transfer zone.
Like I said, everyone, the new trend on Facebook is deep state is going to go deep sleep with deep impact.
And that's where our earthquake stopped, by the way. Let me turn on the rings. See? Our earthquake stopped directly on the transfer zone. And what's magnitude? 4.8. You take the 4.8 plus the 4.6 plus the 4.7 plus the 4.2 and 4.1 and 4.2, you get right to 5.0, and then it transfers down around and underneath, comes up at the South Sandwich Islands. It goes underneath this seismic force. You have to understand, it's not that this 4.0 earthquake on the west coast of South America somehow magically causes shaking that then causes shaking down here that causes an earthquake. No. This seismic force that drops off these fours on the coast of South America travels down around and underneath and then drops off a 5.0 earthquake right down here at the termination point. And you can trace this all the way back to the West Pacific to our deep earthquakes that put it into motion. Push it here, transfers across here, hits here, goes down around and underneath, and ends up here. Here, it transfers through the planet and comes back out at the Sea of Okhotsk with a new deep earthquake within the next couple days. Now, you watch for it. You watch for it. Now, I don't know if the USGS will report it or not. They're pretty remiss with reporting deep earthquakes up here in the Sea of Okhotsk for some reason. Watch the European Agency. Watch for a new deep earthquake to pop up here in the next couple days, right on our letter D, similar in magnitude, maybe just a hair less, so like 4.8, 4.9 will come through the planet and transfer out the opposite side with new motion.
You'll see them
Well, doesn't
very
that
well.
mean that the center of the planet is not what we're told? Doesn't that mean there's something else down there at the core of the Earth? I could get into a whole lecture on what's at the core of the Earth and how we
By the way,
debunk
this is
the
my
solid
Seth
core of the Earth
freaking
theory. I'm not
Rollins
saying it's
number
hollow, don't get me
17
wrong
Ford
there. We're
Fusion.
not taking any journeys to the center of the Earth, guys.
The shield
There's
is back.
a plasma core, electroplasma to be specific. Think of a lightning bolt, like what we were just looking at on my webcam. By the way, let's go take a look, see what's going on out there. So, think of electroplasma lightning, but down inside the crust, and not just flashes, but a constantly rotating, oscillating, superheated core, many tens of thousands, if not more, degrees in temperature. And it has its own electromagnetic field. That's what's at the core of the Earth. And also it reflects like a solid, so when you send a seismic wave off of it, it bounces back. And that's what led scientists to think that the core of the Earth is solid, because waves reflect off of it in a certain way and pass through it in a certain way that deceives scientists into thinking that it was solid. But now we know plasma reflects waves, including shock waves, in which case now we know what is at the core of the Earth. Which leads me into what's here at the center of the Pacific Plate. We have a rise in magma that happened at Kilauea volcano several months ago. You guys remember before this
Holy
whole thing
balls,
started,
Batman!
there was a rise at Kilauea where the magma came up out of the chamber and flowed across the surface of the crater floor inside of Greater Kilauea. Now let me show this to you so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see. Can you see all this? Oh, please God, please tell me you can see all this. So here
I hit
is
the NOS
Kilauea
button
as
on
it
that guy.
used to look.
I was
And
playing
here's
with
the
him for a
old
while and
lava
then pulled
lake
away
as it
on
used to
spot.
look. And you see this
Made
black
him think that he was
flow,
beating
lava
me.
flows that are out here. The lake would periodically come up and surge up out of the crater and flow over the outside and cover it with a new layer. And it did this for a very long time. And this is the greater crater inside of Kilauea. Kilauea's greater magma chamber is down below here.
Here we go
and
with
this
the crater
caldera
again.
sits on top of it.
Hawaii.
Now, over the past 2 months, let's say, this has started to drain out. But first it surged. So what caused the surge? The surge was caused by a greater Pacific Plate surge that came up below the whole Pacific Plate, caused by deep earthquakes down below. That's what caused the original surge at Kilauea before the collapse. So when the surge came up here and flowed out the top, it put lateral pressure, too much weight was up here on top, and you started to get fracturing and then a full cave-in here as the force flowed out the side. This is Pu'u'o'o, over about 11 miles over to the east.
See, they not been showing video of Kilauea lately. I really think the Hawaii is being fracking. They're fracking that island because they found oil on that island and they're trying to get the oil out of there. I think that's why they did that. I'm telling you, everything is about oil in these countries, and they're trying to steal all the oil. In Hawaii, that's Chinese. That's China's oil. I don't know if you knew that or not. But yeah, that's what the plan is. I thought y'all might want to know that. A lot of people didn't know that. That's why you're not seeing cameras out there. They're stealing the oil.
Now here's something interesting that I just noticed that I don't think anybody else has put together on this yet. I listened to a few press conferences and read a bunch of stories about how much has flowed out over here at Lalani Estates. And Lalani Estates has Fissure 8, which has developed into this massive lava flow over the course of the past several months. Let's go over to the HVO page and show it to you. So here's the HVO page. You should come over and check it. Huge shout out to the people who work at the HVO and do all the hard work to bring us this information. So I just want to differentiate.
Oh, by the way, this is a wild race. Just enjoy. Get your popcorn ready.
That from any past beef I may have had with any professor or so forth that we've talked about with earthquake forecasting, that the people who are working here are doing a phenomenal job. And they're out, look, I mean, for instance, look at this person. Whoever they are, I mean, come on, you need to put your name on the back of the jacket so we can give you credit. You're out there risking your life to give us information that's just crucial. This can't be done by a drone. There is no substitute for a person in the field collecting data. And So for the people who are there, again, big shout out. Now take a look at it. This is one shot of the lava flow.
You're welcome. Why do you think? Whoops. Why do you think they're burning everybody out of their houses in California? They're getting the oil out of the people's houses under. That's why Syria. If you didn't hear the interview or the private interview with Putin and Trump, they were talking about that Syria had a lot of oil in there and that Obama let it go. He let all the troops go out of the Middle East, and Putin says, "Look, y'all get out. It's it's mine now." And that's what he's doing. He's picking it up, and he took out ISIS on the way because ISIS was trying to get some of the oil. So that's what happened, folks. Everything, if you do not know this, and you can go read the Bible, it says they're at the end of days, they're fighting for oil, food, and water. We are short on food, folks. We're short on water. We're short on oil. Remember that. The Hoover Dam is disappearing because they're putting the water in these Chinese trucks and putting them on the boats for the other countries. That's what's happening. I'm the only one that can tell you that because I've got the balls. Nobody else does. You don't ever hear that from other countries, other channels. Guarantee you that. I go an opposite way than any channel out there, and I think that's why everybody subscribes to me, because they know what's true and what's not.
Coming off a fishery, going out in a river of lava, which is going all the way down to the ocean. Now this ongoing flow started, and it's been vigorously going for, day and night.
Why do you think the World Banker said attack 7 countries? And Venezuela's one of them. Venezuela got a bunch of oil in there. They're going to take them out like it's nothing. Why do you think Russia is taking out Europe? Probably, Lindsay, if it keeps happening. So I'm just seeing things. Okay. Oh, okay. You're talking about. Okay.
Night and day, it has not stopped at all, like this or greater. So this is actually not vigorous right now. It's just coming out pretty smoothly. You see it bubbling up at the top of the spatter cone, and it's flowing out pretty fast.
I'll be right back. Enjoy the show.
This video just a little bit.
I did this earthquake update for you, Amy.
And it's going.
I knew about it.
Where the river is.
I kind of figured it out. I've already. I'm like reading Dutch.
It really does. It's
like crazy.
Phenomenal. So
I know what's coming next. Because the solar flares. I'm watching solar flares on this app.
There, and it's taking some maybe hours of that, and then it goes back down into a more just steady flow. So as that thing's draining out, it's drained out 11 miles, according to what the articles I read. 11 miles worth of material has so far drained out along the coastline. Now, I don't know how they calculated that, but I'll trust that let's say it is 11 miles. It's the weirdest number in the world for them to come up with. You know why? Because the distance between Pu'u'o'o crater that originally set this thing into motion and Kilauea that's draining out is 11.5 miles. Exactly. Here, I'll get out the line measurement tool and show you. Now, why does that matter? Well, if we're connected from here to here, see 11.46 miles from crater to crater. If 11 miles of material has drained out over at Lalani Estates, and there's 11 miles of material in between the 2 points that have collapsed, then we would be nearing, statistically speaking, we would be nearing the point of that magma chamber being empty. Now, there'll be another sign that the magma chamber is starting to equalize and not be as vigorously emptying as it was before. A sign of that will be a lack of collapses at the greater crater. Now, we just saw a pretty large collapse happen no more than an hour ago here on the USGS live stream for Kilauea Crater. Let me rewind it and show it to you here. There we go. So this is a dust cloud being kicked up as a part or side, or at least portion, of the inner crater is collapsing here. Look at this. Watch this. You see that? That looks like more like an earthquake, actually. But that could be an earthquake caused by a crater collapse. Regardless, you can see it spreading out across the edges of the crater first, and then a big dust cloud kicks up out of the center, and then it goes back to hardly anything. But this is actually less activity than we've seen in many weeks' time. It's been going non-stop with collapses every day. Now it's just happening on a very intermittent basis once a day. So the collapses are starting to stop. Same time the collapses are starting to stop, we're seeing intermittent puff emissions of steam occur out of the crater here. Here's another collapse that happened several hours ago. 3 or 4 hours ago, this also happened. There we go. But the steam that's been coming up out of here looks entirely different than the dust. You can tell the difference between the dust and the steam. The steam has been rising up in columns down below this location where this collapsing is currently happening. So if there's columns of steam coming up below this location, and now there's collapsing happening at this location in particular, that would mean that there's a resurgence of some kind of magma starting to come back up inside Kilauea. This would be normal and expected. It would be normal and expected also for Lalani Estates, Fissure 8, to start to subside, to slow down a little bit, for that flow to get less vigorous over the next several days and next several weeks. USGS put it at 2 months. That was from a week ago or 8 days ago, where they said that they thought it would be about a couple months before Fissure 8 started to die out. Same time they said that, actually the day before, I said that I thought it would be 2 weeks, and that I thought within 2 weeks we would see a resurgence of magma starting to show signs of coming back up inside Kilauea, and then we would start to watch around Kilauea for the potential of an explosive blast going over toward Reno or down to the south, over to the east, somewhere out here around. But I would lean towards an explosive blast coming up from inside the crater where the steam puff emissions are happening. Now, word has reached me today that new fissuring and cracking of major proportion has started to show up in the town of Volcano over here to the east in the past few days, and that they've held some kind of emergency meeting to talk about the potential of a blast happening around Volcano. Well, that might be news to me. I haven't heard anything about that except for what today's news is, so I don't have any evidence to show of that. Nobody sent me any pictures, and they certainly aren't releasing anything on the USGS page about that. That doesn't mean it's not happening. It just means it hasn't reached to the level of the USGS homepage yet. And that won't until they have some significant evidence of those fissurings, that fissurine being tied to some kind of rise that would be happening from some kind of magma push that would be coming up in a slightly different location than the actual collapsed crater. You see, you got to understand, and let me take you over to the HVO page again to show this to you. We'll go down here and look at their 3D image. This is
you call it? What's that? Good night, John boy. I'm telling our whole family good night. Shit. What's it called again? Good night. Good night, Amy. Good night, Lindsay. Good night, Andrew. Good night, YouTube world. I'm not going to bed yet. We got too much. We're only 35 minutes into this. This is big.
So they 3D imaged the inside of this new caldera that's formed, and as it starts to spin around and we look in on the inside of the crater, what you're going to see, first of all, is the depth of it goes down like over 1,200 feet. It was 1,200 feet like a couple of weeks ago.
That's
and it
right.
continues to collapse, so it's got to be deeper than that.
I looked
and
like
so around
John
1,200
Boy
feet or
when
more,
I was a kid.
and then you see how much of it is
what
collapsed.
my mom said.
I mean, a large portion of it is collapsed. So that's all rubble.
For crying out loud, my dad thinks it looks like Daryl Jr.
Rubble is on top,
which my dad looks like Daryl Sr. So
that used to
there you have
feed
it.
the old lava lake that was inside this thing. Let me show
Me
that
too,
lava
and
lake to you again.
hey,
get
we're
a good
going
look at this
back.
and all that rubble.
We're going back to the little house on the prairie, folks. Y'all better get ready. You never seen Little House on the Prairie, kids? You might want to get a copy. Yeah, y'all don't even know. Y'all gonna look like that little girl dancing up in the air in the what is in the holler, and they're gonna play that song. What's his name's gonna say, "Hey, come on and eat, ding a ling a ling a ling a ling," because that's what's gonna happen, folks. When they cut out the power, you're gonna wish you're gonna wish you freaking listen to me. Some of these trollers calling me idiot and stupid, and you know the ones that's stupid is the college students that've been paid by George Soros and Trump and all them. Antifas is what they call. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Hey Antifa, if you're listening, you're a college student. I know which one, who you are now. You don't even have to have a mask. We've been following you to your dorms. The charter buses are coming from George Soros, Donald Trump, and all the rich men. I want to help you out, man. When they find out that you're coming from a college student and you're coming from the college dorm, you're going to lose your diploma.
On inside, and this is what it used to look like. So this completely fell away. This crater is gone. And the lava lake that's down here is gone too. It drained out, but the tubes that fed it aren't gone. They still reside down in the crust.
Check out what happens here. Budweiser 420 and another guy backs out and freezes the lobby, but I stay in there. This is how strong my internet is. Watch everybody disappear. This is no magic trick. This is what they've been doing all couple years online. They can't do it to me because I had security on my internet. I mean, I paid like over $200 on security. Watch this. I'm in the Kyle Larson Crest number 42 Chevrolet. I think it was Brutal West that backed out, or Brutal West and Budweiser 420 backed out and froze everybody. Just watch. They say that I backed out and freeze people. Watch this. I never leave a race. I want that win. I didn't spend my money online to fuck off.
Now, how much rubble has fallen down inside of them? That's the question. And how much magma will it take to come up down below to displace that rubble? And what's going to happen when that magma builds up down below that rubble? Well, I think these are all fairly easy questions to answer. When the magma comes back up inside, it will hit it like a cork, and it will start to build.
See, you can't troll me with your hacking button. You can't stop me. The only thing you can do is try to beat me on the track, Jack. I made all the trollers my bitch. I won more races when they backed out, froze everybody. And I had the fastest laps. That's why they didn't like me. Because I was better than them.
Pressure, and then one of two things will happen. Either the magma will sneak away around that cork, or it will blow the cork out. Once it blows the cork out, it will then form a new crater inside of this new, well...
Gun smoke? Oh man. We're getting somewhere, aren't we? Johnny? My favorite actor, Ricky Schroeder, in Lonesome Dove from Silver Spoon. Jake Spoon. He got with the wrong crowd. That's what I taught. That's what I was telling these bullies and trollers. You're going to be like Jake Spoon, hanging out with the wrong crowd. You're going to lose. Guess what? Every bully lost against me. They don't like me because of it. Their fault. They should have stayed with me. Every clean driver backed out and joined the bad ones. And guess what? Every clean driver and every good driver still got beat by me because I had to armor the car. They would run about 215
Caldera. I mean,
with a Pocono setup.
what do we call it? Do we call it a crater or a caldera? The crater is gone, and it's expanded into the caldera. So is it a caldera or is it a crater? It's a craterdera, and we don't have a word for it yet. It's still expanding. Once it's finally done, we'll have a good size of the new caldera. But right now, the crater will form inside of this, most likely somewhere. But they've held that new meeting talking about.
When you see the car bumping like that, jumping up and down, they're still trying to hack me. They're still up there trying to hack me. And it didn't work. I like to thank Crest, Target, for that, Chevrolet, Goodyear, Chip Ganassi, and Kyle Larson for letting me drive his car. I enjoy creating that one.
Some kind of fissuring or something happening right on the side of here. It's happened in the past. Look all the way over to Pu'u'o'o and all these other craters. It's nothing abnormal for this to build up and blow out a new crater. It's just a once in a several 100-year event for it to occur. And it's happened. If this is every several hundred years, you're looking at the past several thousand years worth of blast right here on the screen. And that makes sense. So if it happens every few hundred years, and it's happening now, then we're going to see a new blast that occurs that creates either a new crater inside of the caldera that exists, or a new crater outside of the caldera and forming a new caldera and crater in its own right.
Appreciate the
and a new lava lake will form too, as it comes back up and finally fills up that empty tube that gets cleared. But first things first, it's got to clear the tube. Where's it going to clear out? I would think inside here. That's what I would think. I've been wrong before. So far, I've been pretty accurate on my ideas of what's going on here. I don't normally do volcanoes. I normally strictly stick to the seismic activity in the area. Now let's get into the seismic activity in the area. We have a series.
In October, Amy, or Lindsay, or whoever's on there, every October, my cars would turn pink for breast cancer because my grandmother put him in the wall. I think that red and black car turns into a troller, if I'm not mistaken. Alabama Crimson Tide takes out LSU. But seriously, no doubt, the trollers thought they had it against me. They thought they had me, when they don't even know that I was being an actor just like they was. I'm an actor from Sloss Right Furnace. That guy in the black and red, I start screwing with him because he wants to play trolling games in here. So I played with him. And I think that's Leroy Brown. Yeah, that's Leroy in the green car. And then you had Gomez. I think that's Gomez in the black and red car. From Kingsville, Texas, David Gomez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And I made him my bitch. Enjoy.
Of the same sized earthquake striking around Mauna Loa today, as well as a 2.9 to 3.0 earthquake striking next to Mauna Kea. This is on top of yesterday's 3.0 earthquake that struck inside the crater at Mauna Loa, and 2.6s and 2.7s that struck on the east side of Mauna Loa. So in other words, the way we're looking at this is that 2.9s to 3.0s have struck around both other large volcanoes on the island in the last day. And there's a reason for that, not eruption. So don't think that we're looking at eruptions at other islands in Hawaii or other volcanoes on the Big Island. This is strictly a sign of shifting that's going on next to Kilauea. These volcanoes are being given a little bit of elbow room as Kilauea has emptied out and not offering much resistance on the southeast edge of both larger volcanoes to Hawaii. So a new 3.0 earthquake striking here in conjunction with a new 3.0 earthquake that struck directly right here last night. So right here on the middle of the inside of Mauna Loa 3.0, and then the day before that a swarm of 2.9s hitting right here. So there's clearly movement happening at Mauna Loa, but not the sign of an eruption, the sign of shifting. And up in Mauna Kea, same thing, 2.9s. So a span of quakes going around Mauna Loa. We go over to the west, we're next to Captain Cook. And I can pull the coordinates on this just to show you. By the way, guys, in case you haven't heard, we're going to Hawaii.
Uh-oh.
Mahalo and aloha.
Uh-oh.
Dutchton's coming in to say hello. Maybe I'll go over to Captain Cook. Maybe I will. Who knows? Who knows where we'll go? Where in the world is Dutch Sits, right? Well, I'll wear a little white and red striped sweater, and you can just call me Walter. And here we are. So we have an earthquake right on the western flanks of Mauna Loa. And as I've been saying, Hawaii is safe. You're welcome to go there, and I'm going to go there. And I would take my wife there. Oh, wait, I would not only take my wife there, I'm going to take my wife there. And if I could take my cats, I would. Now, there is eruptive activity that's going on, but I want to remind everybody that in 1983, Mauna Loa erupted. And most people don't even know about that, or if they do, they just say, oh, wow, it was an eruption that happened, and they move on. Well, the same thing is going to happen in Kilauea, even when it blows out a new crater. It'll be a big deal. It will. Now, luckily, the people around there are already prepared. They're ready to evacuate at a moment's notice. The USGS has all the gear in the world you could possibly imagine set up on this thing to monitor tilt and inflation and harmonics and just, you name it, they're probably monitoring it. Probably stuff I don't even know about, they're probably doing too. And so, when it goes, we'll know. We'll know hours, maybe even days ahead of time as the magma starts to push its way back up inside physically. Right now, we're dealing with heat. But this is the way the island forms. And if you live anywhere around one of these volcanoes, you could live, it's probably more expensive, but you could live in the other spots. But the lava flows were a great spot to build the Laani states on, the old lava flows, but everybody knew it. It was a potential. It was not a matter of, let me quote the Discovery Channel. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Okay, right? That's what we all knew. So here it is. It's happening now, finally. It's going to carry on. We're going to continue seeing new 5.0 earthquakes as the top of the Kilauea magma chamber continues to collapse. I think we're getting to the point where it's starting to equalize. We sure have seen a huge drop-off in the number of earthquakes of significant size. And the lava flows over to the east seem a little bit less
Ding,
vigorous.
round one.
The river is still ongoing, but it's
See,
not
the thing
spreading
is,
out as much as it
he
was.
tried to troll
It's
us
not
while
surging
ago.
over
Now,
its banks, and
it's time to troll
lava
the
flows out
trollers.
even further. It's staying
I am the
within its channels and
entrepreneur
its
for
banks, and it's
trolling the
hardening over
trollers.
on
I'm the
top,
one that
forming
started it.
tubes. Okay, well that's a sign of an ongoing
That's why the
flow,
trollers hate
but
me.
not a increasingly
Earnhardt Sr.
vigorous
would
flow.
always say,
So it's
hate me,
how much more
love
can
me,
drain out?
whatever.
There's 11 miles
At
that's
least
already
you
drained.
still seen the
There's 11
entertainment.
miles between Kilauea and Pu'uo'o. What more do we need? It's getting ready to equalize and come back up next several weeks. So I looked at 2 weeks. USGS said 2 months. Probably going to be right in between the two. Just as we would probably think. Between their estimation and my estimation, somewhere the truth does result. Hey, hold on. New 5.0 earthquake has just struck in Poland. Everybody put on your brakes.
Whoa.
Europe has just been struck by a 5.0 earthquake on the European edge of the craton, right at the border of Germany and Poland.
Did you hear that? A 5.0 on the Richter scale in Europe. That's big.
Significant sized earthquake. Let's go get our information on this. Go look it up. No doubt the 2-kilometer depth. That's very shallow. It was likely felt across the region, maybe even caused some damage. European viewers, pressure comes up out of Europe from the south. We saw 4 and 5.0 activity over the past several days.
That's a big
We're going to
earthquake.
skip over the U.S. really quick just to show you where the spot is.
132 here.
Oh, wow, we're right next to a mine. Uh-oh.
A mine?
Right next to a pit mine.
A pit
Well, this
mine.
is not from any kind of mining, unfortunately, guys. This size quake, definitely. Now, this could cause a mine collapse if there are mines in the area. Look where we are. We're right next to the Bruntál volcanic field on the northern edge of the European craton. I'm going to turn off my borders and labels, and you're going to see the edge of the plate. It's a backwards S shape. Goes up here, makes a slight bend down to the south, goes to the Bruntál, then goes up to the north. You see it? Follows over here. And this is where our earthquake is, right here. And the only way we know about the mining activity, of course, is the giant open pond, if you will, where they're going to be doing some of that. Interesting stuff here, guys. large earthquake for Europe. Let's go see where it came from. Show
Watch
you guys,
this.
just take you back a few days.
Boom, got
Pretty
him.
obvious. Look at this. So look at our 4.7 and 4.4 and 4.5 and 4.6.
Now.
We take the 4.7 and 4.4, that
Now.
equals 4.8.
Europe.
And if we add in the 4.6 and 4.9, that equals 4.9. So now they've just downgraded the earthquake to 4.5. Let's
Prince
go get
Williams
our
is
station
probably
information on this before we do any more crazy downgrades.
changing his diaper.
All right, Poland. 5.5, they have it. GSRC has it at 5.5. GFL Potsdam coming in at 4.4. Looks like Budapest. Who else? SC3. They're usually... All right, we've got several... GSRC, you know... I don't trust them. Never trust any of them, right? Okay, ZAMG, any one of them coming in at 5.0. They'll probably have to bring this up. It was at 4.8. It's probably a safety downgrade just to, well, as they review the earthquake.
Yes, it just happened.
Okay. So, before we get into the United
I'm
States...
getting out of my car and I'm going to punch Kyle Busch in the face right now.
Forecast hit here in eastern Papua New Guinea. We warned you on Sunday night. It was hit today. Direct earthquake forecast hit in Java, Indonesia. Warned you Sunday night. It was hit today. Direct earthquake forecast hit between Philippines and Taiwan. Warned you Sunday night. Was hit today. And Alaska, hit by a 6.0 earthquake, 5.6, and subsequent swarm. Warned you Sunday night. Was hit today.
Wow, another 6.0. Alaska.
Was hit today, 4 days late.
I told you they've been drilling in Alaska.
Colombia, warned you Sunday night. Was hit today. Earthquake forecast hit. Out here, off the west coast of the United States, going into the United States, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Look at our earthquakes which have struck over the last day and a half here across North America. Do you see this line of quakes going across the mountain states, the intermountain states, starting in Montana, going down through Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, Texas, and then bending up into Oklahoma?
Lindsay, what I said New Year's Eve, they took my video off. I told everybody it was on my other YouTube channel. And I said, I've got some news to tell y'all for my New Year's revolution. New Year's revolution. And I told him, I said, between June 19th and August 28th, we're going to have the worst earthquakes and the worst volcanoes eruptions. And 20 hurricanes coming up this year. We've already had 6 hurricanes. We're not even done. It's calm right now. But when that dust clears out, you better get ready. The coasts are going to be toast with hurricanes. That's not all. We're still waiting on the big one to happen, and it's going to happen anytime between now and the 28th and 27th. That's to California, and I told you it was going to be bigger than a 9.0. I said a 12.0 plus. Get ready. It's going to be bad. I barely beat him. But, yeah. I took out the Troller and won the race. They just can't stop me with one eye. They can only contain me. So, we're not done. Let's keep on. Got a little bit more.
Looks like a letter J. Okay, well, if you will, a backwards letter J, or a letter L, or a check.
And thank you for the 5 likes, everyone. Amy finally subscribed to me again. I'm finally seeing her comments down below. Thank you, Amy. I don't know what you said, but whatever you said on YouTube, they didn't like it. But I don't block anybody. I don't kick nobody. YouTube's doing it all, folks. Why would I want to do that? I don't give a damn what you say on YouTube. This is freedom. Makes no sense. But enjoy my AC Delco number 3, 1998. Dale Earnhardt champion. All right.
Mark. And I want you to also
Wait a minute. Breaking news. Let's see what the breaking news is, and we'll go right back to it. Yep, that's what I thought. China. Breaking news. Russia's with the NWO. What the hell? Chinese advanced Type 96 main battle tanks arrive in Russia. Hold on. I tried to tell you we were duped. All the leaders are against us. They're bringing in Chinese tanks to take us out. Just like I've been saying. Wolverine. We're going to be throwing grenades into the tanks while we're fighting. I don't know how to explain it. I tried to warn you. But thanks for the heads up, even though I knew about it. I didn't know how to explain it, but thanks. We're going to go to the next one. But by the way, Europe just had a 5.0 on the Richter scale. I think Prince William just had to change his diaper. There you have it, folks. You heard it on live television. China just gave tanks to Russia. There you have it. We're done for if we don't fight back, folks.
This is the Craton diagram. You can find the Craton diagram in any reputable institution's textbooks. Online, you can search Laurentia. Laurentia. That is the name of the North American continent. Canada, USA, parts of Mexico. Laurentia goes all the way up into almost the North Pole. So Laurentia is huge, and the interior portion of Laurentia is the North American Craton. So you could just call it the Craton of North America. The interior portion of the plate. So make note of where the brown versus purple is. That is the interior portion of the edge, the more stable portion versus the less stable portion. Now, how ironic is it that the less stable portion is made up of nothing but mountain ranges? And look at our earthquakes that go across the edge of the plate. Now, our earthquakes match up perfectly with the edge of the Craton, starting up in Montana, going across Wyoming, down into Colorado. Most of these locations south of Wyoming, well, actually, all of these locations south of Wyoming are drill points, oil and gas pumping operations. So all of these earthquakes are different drill points being impacted by force coming down the edge of the plate. Now, the force started all the way up here to the northwest with yesterday's 5.6. Today, a dramatic increase downstream.
He tried to block me because he's a slow car. Just watch. I'm going to come back without a caution.
Let's start in South Colorado. Technically, yesterday, a day and a half ago, being hit. You know what? I'm not going to waste your time showing you Colorado because it hit yesterday. We'll show you today's quake down in Texas, which will be symbolic.
Maybe not. I may red flag it.
That are over to the east.
We'll see. I'm not letting this pump
check
win.
me on each one of these. You get your coordinates from the USGS. Put them in on Google or directly, and go look up the earthquake coordinates. Now, where are we going in on? We're going in on southwest Texas at Pecos. And all these little square pads here are different drill points, different oil wells. You may need to full screen it to see what we're showing here, but that's a jack, a pump, and a pad, and a pipeline. All of these little square points are different drill points where they've drilled down into the crust. This one looks like they're getting ready to do as of 2014. This is our imagery as of 2014. So these are just sparsely placed. We go just to the north, and you see that they pick up in the number of locations tremendously. Every single spot, a different oil well. And then you're going to start to get a size perspective of how big these operations are and how many different drill points they've made. Each drill point can go down up to 5 miles, and each point is hydraulically charged, and each hydraulically charged point is like a shock absorber. But think of your shock absorber on a car that has a...
More breaking news. If you are in Kentucky or Tennessee, North Carolina, yep, he's fired. You're fired. Or you're in Ohio, Iowa, Arkansas. Torcon 5 for you for tornadoes today. This just popped up on my app. So be ready for some bad storms, guys. It looks bad. Torcon 5 looks like something out of 2011 from the tornadoes we had. I knew the tornadoes were going to be bad up north because of the earth shifting. Everyone, get ready. Seriously. That's straight line winds, damaging light, and that could catch your house on fire. So I thought you might want to know that. Thanks for the 6 likes. I love every one of y'all.
Gas or liquid, or you could put a fluid inside, I suppose, but that wouldn't be too good unless it was built designed to compress. And these oil wells are not designed to compress. So they're filled with a fluid, and next thing you know, you get compression coming from the side or underneath, and it causes a weak point in the crust. Naturally speaking, it would happen in a fault zone, but here, these are drill points. So that's Texas. If we go up to Colorado, it looks like the same thing going on. We go over to the east into Oklahoma, and the exact same thing is going on here. I'll pull the largest of the bunch, which really struck a day and a half ago, or let's go pull the most current, the 2.5, which struck today. Let's do that. Let's pull the most current, even though it's smaller, and put it in. This is taking us into southern Oklahoma. Beautiful southern Oklahoma. What do we got going on here? Oh, wow, okay. Right here in the middle of the pad, they have a drill point. This is a wastewater disposal location. But we also have nearby wells that are all over the place over here, just to the east and northeast. Now, I'm willing to venture a good guess that there's another pumping operation around here that I just don't have marked. I just stopped marking them. I got tired of it when there's so many of them over here, and every one I did, they'd add 10 or 20 more. There's got to be more around. You know what there is? There's right here, look. Right? So, another set of drill points all around the location. No doubt about it. Take a look at the shadow of the well here, and our pipelines connecting between the locations. So another large oil patch next to our earthquake epicenter. And it goes all the way back up to the northwest. Once we get up here, past Colorado and into Wyoming, there's 2 different possibilities. One possibility on the western side is the Yellowstone magma chamber. The other possibility on the eastern side are all the drill points in Wyoming, where they're doing fracking oil gas extraction right south of Yellowstone. You want to see it? Yeah, they're doing fracking next to Yellowstone. Yeah, they are. Fracking gets the bum rap, though. You know, I mean, it's the name that it's the catchy name that everybody's using.
I tried to tell you they were fracking in Yellowstone. That's why they're going to catch them volcanoes. I'm telling you, the volcano's going to erupt. The earthquakes are going to get worse in the west, folks. This is how I figured it out. When the volcano erupts, the earthquake will happen first, and then the volcano. It's going to be like a domino effect. When it happens, folks, the volcano is going to be so bad that the fire is going to come out like fireballs. When it comes out like that, it's going to catch the ground on fire, and they're going to come out and it's like popcorn, okay? It's going to hit the ground, and it's going to help more earthquakes to hit the Pacific West. When it does that, that's how it's going to cut with the plants. See, I learned a lot from Berkeley. I had some students I worked with in California, and what they're saying is, as it's doing the shift, while these big gigantic boulders are coming out of the freaking volcano, you're pretty much. I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't want to be in a car. You're not gonna be like John Cusack from the movie 2012, okay? You're not gonna be running in an RV trying to get a damn map that late. If you want to go get a map, you better go get it now, because you've only got 7 days left. 7 days is in 7 time champion Dale Earnhardt.
Here we are. Okay, so starting here, here's Jackson. Right here, whoops. There's Jackson, there's Yellowstone. Down to the south, starting down here in the valley, you'll be able to make out all these little grid points. It looked like sand dunes at first when you zoom in this close, and then you have to zoom in much closer where you're going to start to see every different drill point, every different pipeline, and these are wastewater injection points as well as oil and gas extraction. So you'll see Jackson pumps here, not just wells where they dispose of the water. Now that's here the northern tip of the valley. It goes all the way up here to the north where all these are and carries on over here on these sand dunes. Starts there, goes down to the south. So let's go pull our coordinates for the Wyoming earthquake. Rock Springs at a 5-kilometer depth. Same depth as all our fracking earthquakes, 5 km. Okay. Well, 5 km down below a giant strip mine. Well, the strip mine is not going to be going down that far. Maybe they've got something else going on nearby that could be leading to the earthquake. Oh, wait, you mean they do? They've got a bunch of cleared pads here and oil wells and a pumping operation that's just a little obscure and hard to see? You see? Let me zoom in and show you. See the pump? There's the jack, there's the tank, there's the pipeline, but it's not very well maintained.
Wow, Google.
Well, no, you know what?
Pretty
This
good.
one is. This one looks
Google
brand
Earth. This is
new.
Dave
Zoom in on it.
Blaney,
See that? Okay.
Pontiac Grand Prix, which I had to turn it into a Chevrolet. This was fun to make. And I raced the 48 Jimmy Johnson. This is Ryan Blaney's dad, Dave Blaney. If you didn't know who Dave Blaney is, he's a driver that used to race in the 90s. All right, enjoy, folks.
So we're right next to an oil pumping operation. That's why the earthquake is striking there. But they're also doing straight up strip mining on the location next to several volcanoes. Black Rock Butte, Spring Butte, Cabin Butte, Emmons Cone. Let's see. Emmons Cone. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay. Volcanic field and drill point. Wonderful stuff. As we go up to the west-northwest, we get into Washington State, where yesterday's earthquake is still technically on that feed. Let's go turn on the last 24 hours worth of quakes for the USGS. All the microquakes. We want to look at all the small earthquakes. Why do we want to look at small earthquakes? Well, they're not exciting. It just tells us what's going on. Which spots are moving now? Which spots are set to move? Our swarms and all the other micro activity that might get ignored adds up and needs to be paid attention to intently. So you'll see we have a series of microquakes, something pretty normal inside of Yellowstone, just a 0.7 and 0.8. Now there's thousands of tremors that happen every day in Yellowstone, but tremors are not to be confused with earthquakes. So when you hear them talk about, there's hundreds of thousands of tremors a year at Yellowstone, yes, this is a series of vibrations that occur as the magma shifts in the magma chamber down below.
He
The
blocked
magma
the
chamber's
shit out of
11
me that
Grand
time.
Canyons
I'll tell you, I
in
couldn't go
size at
nowhere on that
Yellowstone.
one.
It goes down
He
about
got me
30
good,
kilometers into the
but
crust.
just wait.
So if there's ever going to be any kind of
He
eruption
messed
or
up.
anything here,
That's all I
it
gotta
won't
say.
be swarms of zeros. It'll be swarms of 4s and 5s, and maybe even 6s and 7s. Mixed in is that 11 Grand Canyons of magma gets perturbed, and it would take a huge amount of force to perturb Yellowstone from the west coast in order for that to happen. Now looking across the Pacific Northwest, you're going to just see there's one lone earthquake. That's really interesting.
Well, what are you talking about? I just said where the tornadoes are going to be at. Where'd you go? Did you go to the bathroom or something? Iowa, Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, Ohio. The north area is getting more tornadoes this year because the earth is shifting toward the north of the hot and cold air. It's crazy. We've never had this many tornadoes in the summertime. So something's up. But they're trying to cover something up. I told you. They're going to have more storms, more earthquakes, more volcanoes, more, you know what. As we get closer to October, I told you the timeline for Wormwood will be in October. Ooh, will it be October? But yeah. Now, is it going to hit us? Don't know that, because it's turned around before and surprised everybody. Because, like I said, Obama was going to hit martial law in 2015 and didn't happen because Wormwood decided to turn. So, thank goodness. So we have to wait till Wormwood's going to do. That's how we do it. I'm really enjoying this video, brother. It damn good. Hell yeah! Thank you. Looks like another person's enjoying it too. But thank you. I'm trying. Y'all been wanting to see the earthquake stuff, and y'all been sending me messages on Facebook. When's your next live video? Here it is. And they're not even here.
Let's go consult the real-time tremor map from the University of Washington and go see what happened to our slow slip. Wow. Sure looks like there's hardly any activity going on. In the last 24 hours, what? How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 tremors in the last 24 hours? It's really weird because their system bit the dust over the past couple days. And like, for instance, over here on the PNSN page right now, look, previous. We have to go back to the 15th to get any information on the PNSN to show any tremors. So the PNSN is getting its information at the same place that the University of Washington is, and they went down at the same time. They didn't have any on here for days, and we knew it was totally swarming. It was ongoing. Thousands, if not, or well, hundreds and hundreds of them, tremors happening day after day for several days in a row. It doesn't just go from that to nothing in a day. It just doesn't. It's an impossibility. That would be defying the laws of physics. So what happened? The system went down for some reason. Well, now we're back, and when it's back, it's got one on here. It's just weird. I don't know what to make of it. So is it incorrect information? I don't know. Do not know. And I don't, certainly, there are disclaimers.
Come on, Dutch. You do know. They're hiding something. The Pacific West is about to go in the water. And they're scared and they're worried that people are going to stop working and packing their bags. And we're the saviors. We are the guardians. We are the warriors of warriors. We've got the balls to tell them, and I do. I'm not scared. Y'all going in the ocean, Pacific Ocean, California, get the fuck out. I'm not scared. Elliot, Clintons are not going to stop me telling me what to do. I'm going to wait. I want one of them old geezers to come on in here. AR-15, pow, pow, pow. That's all I got to say. Come on in. This will be for Paul Walker and for Chester Bennington. And I'll be singing Burn It to the Ground as I'm killing you.
Lend any, any confidence to the information. So as it stands now, can I bring you any information on a slow slip? No, I've got one tremor to show to you. Do you believe there's only been one tremor across the entire United States? Do you? I don't. So there's something wrong. As we go down to the south, we have to get down to Oregon, where there are no earthquakes reported at all again. So we get past Oregon, which we know that should have earthquakes, is not having earthquakes, and we get into Northern California, where they finally have started to report earthquakes at geysers again. Geysers went quiet with no earthquakes, and one of my viewers sent an inquiry email to the USGS, and within hours of sending that, all of a sudden the earthquakes report back on the feed. Definitely weird. So I don't know if that's something that's related or if it was just a technical outage as well. They may be working on the system out here for all I know. Hopefully they are. And if they're not, then maybe there's some other glitch going on. As we go down across the coast, it's pretty obvious. We have 1.2, 1.8, and then we go down to zeros. Then right in the middle of this, we have a 1.2 and 1.8. And on the southern edge of this, we have a 1.0 and 1.6. The largest movement of the bunch happening in the middle, in between our moving section of the creeping section of the San Andreas. And I really think this is something.
This is my Alan Kawicki number 7 car. I don't know if you knew this, but Alan Kawicki died 25 years ago at Bristol. This is one of my favorite cars. I like this car. Every time a NASCAR game came out, I had a paint booth. Um, and it got better every year. But we do have a couple glitches on the paint booth and some of the cars. If you see, some of them are black and red. They don't supposed to be black and red, I'll tell you that. But my car showed up. Unfortunately, Facebook has stopped. Well, I'm not even on Facebook, so why do you keep on sending me that crap? What an idiot. Something's going on with the internet, folks. Google said it stopped, and I'm still here. That's making no sense. What'd you say? I'm really enjoying this video, brother. Oh, you already said that. Shit. I'm reading the same shit because it keeps on popping up. Alright, enjoy, folks. 6 minutes and 19 seconds. That would be 9 laps. And this is a fast race, so enjoy. And much respect for Alan Kawicki. His own team, for crying out loud. And he won a championship.
That's significant that professionals should probably pay attention to. Something I've noticed that when the creeping section of the San Andreas moves, the largest movement happens in the middle of whatever section it moves. So it's a 1.2 on one side and a 1.6 on the other, and in the middle of the swarm, a 1.8, 1.4, 0, and 1.2. So the biggest movement, even though it's small, happened in the middle of the moving section. And whether it's 3s or 4s or 5s, doesn't seem to matter. It's the middle point that moves with the greatest amount on the creeping section of the San Andreas. We go over to the east and we get up here just northeast of Lake Tahoe. And I want to pull these coordinates. This is taking us to a place called Spanish Springs, Nevada. Big shout out to Casimirio, who might be in chat. He's one of my viewers and lives right in the area. Went mountain climbing for us and climbed up Sunflower Mountain to find out if anything was going on. So where are we? What is this location? Well, there's a strip mine here. That's just really, these explosions and the strip mines. We have to start looking at these more intently because there's other earthquakes that are striking right next to them that are not explosions at the same time, within the same just few hour time period. So I think they're related, personally, that they set off a blast at the quarry, and then a few hours later, we see a 2.0 earthquake strike over in residential as there's a shift that happens in the localized area. I can't prove that that's connected. I think they're connected. It's happened enough. So for everybody who lives out there, watch for these quarry blasts and then watch for subsequent earthquakes to spread out from the area within the day. Just something to watch for. It's pretty interesting.
Well, kinda. That was Clint Boyer driving that car for Richard Childers. It was 07, like 7 ounce Jack Daniels bottle. They made a 7 ounce instead of a 7-0 kind of deal. I don't know how to explain it, but it was a pretty cool car. I actually created that car in 2011, I think. 2011, I believe. And that got wiped out. I had a lot of cars, guys, and it got wiped out. I got a bunch I'm going to show y'all. If we have power and we don't have martial law and all this other shit, we don't know when that's going to start. But I will tell you this, the deep state is on the prowl right now with Trump. Anything can happen. They're trying to get it all stepped up and ready to go because Warmwood's closing in. So we'll just see what happens.
As we go down across California's border, we get down to a place called Mammoth Mountain. Mammoth Lakes is the location as listed by the USGS. And Mammoth Mountain had the top of the mountain fracture off at the start of this year, and they blamed that on snow precipitation. Well, there has been an ongoing earthquake swarm next to this volcano for the last year and a half. So the mountain collapsing on the top blamed on snow when it's a ski resort that's well maintained. Just really, I don't know if I believe that story. It's okay if I don't, because guess what happened after that? A series of fires broke out here on the back side of Mammoth Mountain, right next to the cinders, and those fires started on a clear day, which they blamed on lightning. On a clear day, which I'm going to say, meteorologically speaking, is possible, but not likely.
I think what happened on that deal is he was wrecking people in the last lobby, and I finally got him. One car backs out, freezes the whole lobby, and I'm still going. Once again, they tried to hack me, and it didn't work. And once again, I got an easy win. They're stupid. That's all I got to say. They're stupid, and they're on my list. Sorry, Chris Jericho, I had to do it.
Let's go check and see what's going on here with our lightning storm. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, back over to the earthquakes. So, is there something going on at Mammoth Mountain today? Well, there's a new fire that broke out on the same backside that was burning previously, going over towards the valley. To see that, we can go over to the College of DuPage. Wait, where is that? There it is. And go check the Experimental GOES new satellite imagery. High resolution imagery. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And to top it all off, it's in color. Whoa. It would be awesome if it worked. It's not working. Uh-oh. Site goes down all of a sudden as soon as I come on. Boy, you start to get a little suspicious when every website you go to crashes as soon as you try to show people on a live stream, eh? You start to get a little bit paranoid, wouldn't you? That's a joke. That's a joke. Probably a technical issue here too, right? So let's hit play and see what's going on. Now this is going to bring us out throughout the day today, and you're going to see the previous smoke plume that's been clearing from the back side of this. This is on the valley side, back behind Mammoth Mountain. Now that's the regular thunderstorm formation, although it's rather large. Wow, look at that. Oh my God, look at the thunderstorm formation here, guys. Look at, wait, hold on. I don't want to get into that right now. All right, so let's go down to the south and go check out what's going on in Southern California. We have a swarm separated off and a diagonal line going across the creeping section of the San Andreas, what we just ended up talking about, going down to Anza Gap. Anza Gap is right in the middle. It's Riverside, California. And professionals announced back in October that this section of the San Jacinto and San Andreas were in slow slip motion. Now, slow slip is what happens when plates move side by side. In this case, it's Laurentia, like I told you, moving side by side with the Pacific plate. Now, when that happens, you get swarms of ongoing tremors, small vibrations, not to be confused with earthquakes. Well, down here in Southern California, it's not just tremors. It's actual earthquakes that are striking over and over again. If it was just tremors, it would be on a different chart. It wouldn't even be on here. So
8 tremors in California, folks. That's a big sign.
So it's a bigger slow slip in Southern California than what's going on, at least power-wise.
Not looking good.
Power on the slow slip.
Not looking good, folks.
South,
seriously.
Up here to the north,
it's looking like 1980 over again, except bigger.
So more the number
worse.
Of small tremors is greater up
San
here.
Andreas, the movie, tried to warn you.
It's not as great up to the north. So why is it moving?
They've been feeling it in the Hoover down.
Well-oiled machine,
just like in the movie.
South. No doubt about it. So the southern portion of the San Andreas, well known to be very seismically active, and it doesn't have any lock zone. It's not locked. It doesn't have any point to build pressure. It just straight up moves. It goes into motion when it gets pushed from the south or to the north. It's a straight line, a diagonal line that goes all the way across California's coast, down into a fracture zone down here, south of the border, which is stair-step shaped. So it's, here, you know what? I can show it to you here. Picture speaks 1,000 words. So here's the USGS map, and we're going to come over here to the California coast. Do you see our stair-step fracture zone here coming up to the Gulf of California? And it goes right across Mexicali into Southern California.
This is Alan Kowicki's old sponsor, Xerox number 7 Ford. I made all of his cars. I actually made an army car of his too. For the, you'll see them. May not be tonight, but you'll see them.
California. So it comes out of stair steps here where it gets locked. and then it goes into a smooth running oiled machine, all the way up to here to another fracture zone where it gets more choppy again. So pressure builds here, and it releases suddenly. Here, it goes into motion. Whatever it pushes off the coast, then pushes California into motion. And that's what's going on right now. That's why there's a segregated off section down here in Southern California, and we only have one spot in between. And these are pumping operations in between, by the way, across Ventura and South San Joaquin Valley. So the only spots left to be hit are pumping operations. The rest of it is moving diagonally from northwest to southeast, starting at geysers, going down the coast across the Caribbean section, going down into Southern California.
You can see it was
Same time, it's
glitched.
going across
The paint
California
was
border
glitched right
and
there.
our volcanoes.
I didn't do that. That's just
Now
where
I
the
could
game
show you a
goes
few
shit.
spots over here further to the east. Let's go look up this 0.9, 30 kilometers west of Alamo, or we can pull this 0.1. Either or, they're both tied to the same location. What's at the location? Longtime viewers, you can type it out in chat probably quicker than I can go show it to you. You can tell the new people here what I'm getting ready to show them and spoil it for them. What am I getting ready to show you? First of all, you see this? This is a place called Doomtown. I didn't name it. It's where they blew away the town with nuclear weapons, and they built the town, put mannequins in it. They recreated the scene in the famous Indiana Jones movie where he got inside the refrigerator and it got blown away. Okay, that's the spot. This Operation Rise Line, Doomtown. And then right here are all the underground nuke test sites, all of these craters, and each one has some information. U.S. nuke Operation Lowball. July 12, 1978, 150 kilotons. Just as one example. So, Operation Lowball. And these are all over the place. You guys are welcome to get the information. U.S. nuke Operation Carpet Bag. December 17, 1970, 220 kilotons. So, pretty big stuff going on here. And it's caused fractures in the crust, which are susceptible when force comes in from the west and pushes to the east. That's why we have earthquakes striking there. And it spreads out. All those nuclear test sites reach over to the east and down to the southwest. You guys are welcome to go fact check me on this if you want to go look it up. Download a copy of Google Earth, turn on the Google Earth community, and that will give you the nuke test site information. Now we jump across back over the border here into the south tip of the valley of Eastern California. This is their Death Valley. Now you notice the name Cozo Junction. They should add a word in between Cozo and Junction, and that would be volcanic. Cozo Volcanic Junction. It's a volcanic field. Here's the Smithsonian place mark for it. It's a Pleistocene or Ice Age series of volcanoes. And on the flanks of here are younger formations, much younger than the Ice Age, clearly. And here is Volcano Peak, and it's more younger lava flows. And how many other cinders are off the side of here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 separate volcanoes just off to the side of Volcano Peak to that side. Then, let's see. Up here to the west, northwest, we got a couple more. So it's pretty much obvious that the earthquake is tied to the volcanic field at the location, wouldn't you say? It all goes back to weak points in the crust. Drill points that humans have created at oil, gas, geothermal pumping operations, and Mother Nature's weak points, punch points in the crust, where volcanoes exist, and at some points where fumaroles and geysers also exist. So weak points in the crust are the key to this seismic pressure releasing itself, and it flows like a fluid across the plate and goes all the way over to the Midwest and East Coast. The reason it hits in the Midwest? Drill points, weak points in the crust humans have created. So I hope this explains things to you in a way that you can understand it a little bit better, and I hope this removes some of the fear of earthquakes for you. You know, people said for the longest time earthquakes were random. They're not. And if you ever hear anybody say earthquakes are random, ask them to prove it. And watch them go into spin mode as they finally realize that when they set out to prove earthquakes are random, they're going to be confronting a wall of logic that says that earthquakes are following the plate boundaries and craton edges. They're not random. They're striking in locations for reasons. And the reasons can be traced back to the ultimate push. These things are related like domino falling or a Rube Goldberg kinetic transfer You guys may be familiar with a Rube Goldberg machine. You push something and it moves something else, then it moves a mouse that then inflates a balloon that turns on a Bunsen burner that then lights a fire that burns a piece of paper and then releases the bird out of a cage. Okay, that's the chain reaction that can happen. But in this case, it's strictly one leading to the other, and the tally is the combined total of what's on both sides. If that makes no sense to you, you should go watch my forecast and really get your head around it. If you need to, watch it a couple times. And if you're a professional, let me explain it like this. The force comes up down below the plate in the asthenosphere. It hits the underside of the plate in the lithosphere.
Alright, try to wreck me and troll me in the last race.
On the plate boundary,
just watch what happens.
Shallow or larger earthquakes.
I can get him back. I told you I was going to get him back on the last lap. I always get my wreckers and trollers.
Trying to equalize. And it's dropping off the same sized earthquakes all the way along the way as it flows out to the plate boundary edges, and then it hits the other adjacent plates. The force, the energy, does not stop there. It continues to transfer. The other plates adjacent to the original pushed plate absorbs that force and transfers it across the interior craton edges, which really I think are just ancient plate boundaries in their own right. So it transfers it across the craton edges, and then we reach other plate boundaries again. And the force flows again, following the plate boundaries, ultimately seeking out equilibrium to the opposite side of the planet where there's a fracture zone it cannot pass beyond. Like a river that has no bridge over it. This force cannot cross that bridge, and the bridge would need to go across the mid-Atlantic ridge. But it's a wide enough fracture, and it goes deep enough all the way back down to the plate that the force hits that fracture zone and is forced back down into the planet, recycled back through, coming back out on the antipode, starting the cycle over again with new deep earthquakes. Now that you get that, once we know where the force starts, and we know where the force terminates, and we know the avenue by which the pressure takes, it's a matter of forecasting. It's a matter of calculating times and distances and energy transfer. That's what it is. It goes out of the realm of being random acts of God and into specific events that are happening for a reason in each location. I just explained to you the reason for each earthquake and each one of these locations.
They thought I was going
Midwest
to let
and on the
him
West
win
Coast.
after he
The
wrecked me
reason
in
for
the
every
last
single
lobby.
one. And if you want to know the reasons for the other ones I didn't explain, you can go back
Like
and
Vin
watch my
Diesel
last
would
night's
say.
forecast or my update this
Hey pal, you never had your car.
morning, or last night's update, and this morning's update. Not really a forecast last night. But you can go check them. And we talked about the 2.5 up in Washington next to Mount Rainier, and we talked about the other activity yesterday that was just the same. So it repeats itself over and over again. It's a repeating cycle, just like the tides, just like the winds, just like the weather, just like the rotation of the planet, just like the cycles of the planets, just like the sun and the moon. It's a repeating cycle of seismic pressure that transfers across the plates. Now, hey, one more thing. Everybody get your head around this. The earthquakes are moving in the opposite direction than the plates are moving. GPS tells us plates are moving in one direction. Earthquakes are moving in the exact opposite. Now, what are the chances of that? Why? Why are the earthquakes moving in the opposite direction than the plates?
I'm almost done
like
myself.
a conveyor belt
We only got
where the tops are moving one way and the bottoms are moving the other.
looks like
Something's
about
causing the
10 more
earthquakes to
minutes
go
and
the
that's
exact
it. So
opposite way than the plate. Maybe that's
yeah,
what causes the plates
you're
to move.
welcome.
Maybe the
And
reason the
thank you
plates
for
move in
watching.
one direction is because the earthquakes are
I'm
moving in
going
the
to show
other,
you the
pushing
Harry
them in
Gant
the
car.
opposite direction.
You know you always
Who
can
knows
go
why?
back to and
But
watch
man,
it,
it's
watch
intriguing to
it
think
again.
about, isn't it? The fact that people missed it. Well, you know what? We wouldn't even be talking about it right now if we had just dismissed it all and, I'd gone back to cutting down trees and go back into manual labor in the field. I could do it. Hey, you guys are great. Do you have an earthquake plan? Do you have an earthquake plan?
Nope.
If you do not have an earthquake plan, I would recommend that you take the time now to think about what to do when an earthquake strikes. This is just in your head. So you think about, okay, if an earthquake hits, I'm going to go underneath the table, or I'm going to go underneath that desk. Or if you don't have a table or a desk to get underneath, you should probably get one. One that's sturdy enough to support the falling weight of a ceiling fan or canister lights, or some people have the...
He's not kidding, folks. He's trying to let you know California is about to go in the water. Dutch is concerned, and so am I. We all are. We really do care about California. I've been out there before. Great place.
Track lighting, those little clip-on lights that go into a track on your ceiling. Okay, those things can fall. You can also get drywall that's not screwed in properly that starts to break free, as well as plaster. I've been on job sites. You guys know I did construction for a long time. Been on job sites where I see a small piece of plaster fall from 10, 15 feet up. Some guy up there doing bang out on the second floor, falls through the joist through the floor. And next thing you know, you've got a piece of sharp plaster sticking out the top of your head. I've seen it happen. Not to me, but other people. That's why you wear a hard hat, right? But a little piece, it's just the size of a quarter, but they're sharp. Sharp as glass. That's plaster. So plaster, if you have plaster ceilings, you probably need to be underneath a table or a desk to protect yourself from falling sharp objects. Same for any kind of lighting. So if you don't have a table or desk, you need to get one. Okay, basics thing. Secondly, if you're in a brick or a cinder block structure or concrete of any size, you might want to think about having an exit plan. As soon as you start to feel an earthquake, you don't want to wait around to find out if it's a larger earthquake or not in one of those kinds of buildings, because by the time you realize it's a larger earthquake, first of all, the building's not supposed to be shaking at all.
Yeah.
If it's made out of stone,
I got him
not
for
supposed
wrecking
to be moving
everybody
at
in the
all.
last lobby.
You
I
start
let him
feeling
come
shaking
in
a stone
here.
building, that means there's already
He
going to be
thought he
some
was
kind
going
of
to
little
not
loosening
get
of the
wrecked.
order to begin with. Now, if you
That's how it
wait
goes.
around to find out whether
I
or
don't
not it's
kick
a
'em.
large quake,
I kick their
that's
ass.
when the collapse happens. Because as soon as a fracture happens, gravity takes over, and you don't just get one brick falling, you get fractures that happen up the corners of the buildings or along the weakest point in the mortar, and you get whole sections of walls falling at once out of brick and cinder block structures. So if you're in one of those, you need to make your way to the door, which means you need to know where the door is, right? I mean, know your surroundings. And if you're going to be going outside, you should know what's outside. So if you're running out into a greater scenario where there could be more things falling, if you live in a city, for instance. So just think about it. This is all stuff in your head you would just go over.
Yep.
And
I hit a digger.
the physical
A digger
preparation
hole.
comes in with actually developing
Damn
an
it.
emergency kit. You need to have an emergency kit
Sometimes
for severe
you can't
weather,
do nothing about it.
for earthquakes that can overlap. So your emergency
My fault.
kit can cover many different things, and it would just have the basics in it for day one of any disaster: battery, flashlight, emergency radio, change of clothes, set of shoes, extra set of keys, maybe an ID, your insurance card if you have any kind of insurance, a form of communication or a way to charge your cell phone or some way to communicate with people. You can have that all ready to go in a bag. So that way, when it goes down, you don't have to go fumble for the keys or go try to find a flashlight in a drawer somewhere. You know where your emergency kit is, you keep it somewhere by the door, and you grab it at a moment's notice if you need it. So those are the things I would like you to do, and it'll make a big difference as to whether or not you actually survive the first day or dream an earthquake. It's just general advice, and you'll come up with way better stuff to put into your emergency kit. These are just basic ideas I'm throwing out there as something you might want to put in there. Again, you food, water. I mean, 1 day's worth of food and water is in its own right enough that's going to weigh a little bit. You don't want to put too much in there. You're not talking canned foods and meals ready to eat. I would think energy bars and Pop-Tarts on day one. You want some energy that's going to keep you going. You're not going to be eating a steak meal and mashed potatoes on day one. And if you are, you're being a jerk, because there are going to be a lot of people out there that are still needing help as you're sitting there eating your mashed potatoes. So think about that. Don't overkill on your first day bug out bag supply. But you should have long-term preps as well, preparations. But that gets into a whole other thing, long-term preparation. People, confuse that with being a fanatic and all that other stuff. We're not here to talk about that. We're just talking about day one. Okay, what else do we have going on? How many people are over in chat? Let's go take a look and see how many people are in chat right now. In case you guys don't know, global earthquake forecasting methodologies have been proved to the world. We've got a link down below. You can check that out if you haven't already seen it. Also, I've got a link down below in the description box to my t-shirt store. Check this thing out. Oh, who's in chat? Copper Tropicals, James, Kristen, AJ, Nancy. This is just in top chat. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have enough chat to run. Everybody.
All right, that was all for that. Let's see if there's any breaking news before go off there. Oh my God. Oh no, never mind. What? Hold on.
I found super.
Breaking news: Grand Teton Fisher update. Rock buttress above Hidden Falls monitored with equipment. That is the volcano that's supposed to erupt in Wyoming, Montana, Yellowstone. Breaking news on Yellowstone, folks. This ain't good. This is not good at all. Woody Harrison, you were right. Okay, here we go. Get ready, folks. You might want to share this to everyone because that's why I'm here. Under the radar for y'all.
They figured out hiring. I post my job. They put it all over the web. This is Dabu7. Some updated information to these fissures that opened up in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. This is very near Yellowstone National Park. And this image, you can see one of the fissures that they're worried about. They're also worried about rocks falling in the region. Now, there's some new information along with these new images where they're stating that they believe that they may have formed over this past winter, but they're not sure. They're not sure how much of this actually took place here recently. What they've done is they've sent in teams that have cameras mounted, and these cameras are positioned near the cracks, and they're taking time lapse pretty much every 15 minutes.
Wow.
And then they're also using some highly sophisticated and very accurate GPS coordinates and other methods to try to build
That's not good.
a map of which way the Earth is moving here. But this is just some updated info in regards to it. They still have a large area blocked off in terms of an area that's closed due to potential rockfall.
Wow.
This is it. This is the main area of concern right here. And you can see the lake, the boat dock. And they've got workers out there monitoring the situation. And I want to let it be known that this is what the fissures look like right here. And it reminds me of this massive crack that I discovered in Yellowstone, so very near there. And it was just wide enough to slide up into and through. You can see me here doing just that. But that's the first thing I thought of when I had witnessed this image for the first time. But that's some updated information in regards to that. I'm going to leave a link. I'll update via Twitter if I come across anything else. Hit me up, dabu7yahoo.com. You got anything you want me to report on? And make sure to tune into Underground World News Live.
There you go, folks. We're getting big news out of the West Coast. It's not looking good. Montana about to blow. Fissures are opening up. If you're on the West Coast, you've got 32 states are going to be covered with ash. And that ash is not just going to stop breathing, it's going to mess up your house. The roof is going to fall in. Because that ash is very, very heavy. And when it's that heavy, you want to be underground. No doubt. Some kind of cave or something. But that's not good, folks. Seriously, let's see if there's any more breaking news before I leave tonight. This may be the last race, not sure yet. I thought about staying on here just in case something else popped up, but it's not looking like it. So, yeah, that troller come in here wanting to play games, so I played with him. 85 gone. But, yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I know one thing, if anything big happens, you know I'm going to pop on, so hit that bell. And hope for the best for Mr. Uh, well, Kevin Ship. I mean, he got attacked, folks, in his own home. He's okay, but they're trying to kill him. Have not heard any more about it. I did get on the phone with him and checked on him, so it's shit's getting bad. You're still digging around the volcanoes with backhoes. I showed y'all the video a couple of weeks ago. Um, Kevin Ship is a good guy. Let's see what he's saying on his videos. Let's go to it. Any Kevin Ship stuff going on here? Nothing. Okay. Nothing on Kevin Ship. So yeah. Well, that was 3 weeks ago. That video was. So see, that guy wants to fight. He's fighting with a bull, and he just got the horns. But let's see here. Who's this? Oh, okay, never mind. I'm trying to go down the line before I close shop tonight. Wow, breaking news. They're bombing in Hawaii, just like I predicted, folks. Everyone, I was right. Oh my God. This is big. Let's listen to this before we go to bed. They're bombing Hawaii. This is my African American buddy. He's former military. JW. I have a weather war upgrade. They're bombing Hawaii 2018. All right, enjoy. I told you something crazy is about to happen. Yeah, here we go. Chinese bombing Hawaii.
What I call a studio. But what I find very, very strange about this whole thing is why would the military want to drill on Hawaii Islands at the time of it going through a crisis-like moment? I understand that's your exercise territory, but my God, the people are going through a crisis.
33,000-acre Paakoloa training area on the Big Island.
The whole issue of bombing Hawaii, which the world doesn't seem to understand, that we are being bombed all over the place, and that we're really living in this kind of depression.
The forum was organized by the Mala'ina Center for Nonviolent Education and Action. They're also demonstrating against exercises at various locations around Hilo this month.
So basically what's going on is they're exercising these military exercise drills, including bombing 133,000 acre whole, how do you say that name, training area. Basically it's an area on the island, basically they're bombing. People are concerned. I don't think it's a good idea to do as well. So if something is set off in Hawaii, you understand and know now that the military is exercising about 26 people, about 26 nations training in Hawaii. So what they're doing could highly likely be the set off of another major event in Hawaii. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying that you're disturbing area. Somebody sent me a message from Hawaii, close to the area. They said it was a couple miles away. It feel like they're floating on a boat. It literally said, Steven, feels like we're floating on a boat. I never felt this feeling before. So that's just something to really watch and really, really take in note. Now we're going to take you for the second half of this portion into the studio. Like we said, the hot weather is going to continue in Texas. Blazing, that's what I've been hearing. Anyway, a mega heat wave is gaining strength over Texas, the south central United States. July 19th. Extreme heat waves hitting Texas, surrounding states. Temperatures in much of that region have been near 100 for days, and they will rise and beyond in the days heading towards the peak is the most significant heat wave since 2011. And some record highs could be in jeopardy before it finishes. I wonder why they get that high in 2011. Now, any of you from Pensacola, Florida, because I wanted to know, because there's a possible planned trip for this weekend, and Pensacola is nowhere from me. That's about an hour and about 50 minutes. So if you're from Pensacola, Florida, or you're close to the area, just comment below about that. But yeah, your heat waves continue to produce as the rain continues to come down. Here's another story I wanted to update you on. This came out recently. And listen to this. U.S. fighters may carry Stormbreaker fire weather bomb by next year. Listen to what they say. Testing for a Raytheon Stormbreaker precision guided bomb, which can go after moving targets in bad weather, is going so well it may be fielded earlier than expected, according to company officials. U.S. Air Force is using this. Sounds like they're preparing for a war in bad weather, or like that's what they particularly know is coming, and they want to make sure that they can use this thing in that bad weather. So yeah, they definitely had technology like this in the past before, but this one is being integrated into FA-18. So I mean, it's definitely a highly upgraded one, no doubt. Antennas on top of the bomb that will help it connect via common link, which is data link 16 that they said. And with that, you'll be able to use ultra frequencies to not only connect you to the target, like by hitting the radar connection, it will actually target the target for you. So I guess like a guided one. But this is something, a new weaponry that they said they put in their arsenal. Stormbreaker, a 250-pound class attack weapon, uses millimeter wave radar to see through any kind of weather. A fused imaging infrared seeker on the front of the bomb, which helps classify targets, while it uses more common GPS coordinate target system. The bomb may also carry a laser to more precisely outline a target. But in case they have something that goes to my mind, in case they have some intelligence about the guided missile or whatever, that's called the Stormbreaker for fighting bad weather. They just know now that where we're at in this age and day and how everything is changing, that I'm guessing they may be having an event planned for where they go in, they may target somebody with weather, and they go in, destabilize it, or something like that. That's what comes to my mind. So I'm just laying out my thoughts here, right here. Definitely like to hear yours on this one. But yes, it sounds very, very strikingly interesting to me how they release it, how they talk about it. At the moment, we're having lots of bad weather, and we know that it's just abnormal moments that's happening occurring right now as we speak. It's just transpiring. Record-breaking heat waves. Nobody can deny it. Fish popping up in the ocean, dead. Whales washing up. They said within 20 years, a lot of the species could be extinct if they don't continue. If they continue this path. So, and we're just watching all the steps and looking at what they're putting out and trying to piece it together. At the same time, though, we're still focused on being highly spiritual and being calm and not letting this stuff sink down into your subconscious and completely destroy you and deteriorate your mind. That's what we're not doing. So, Steven Jackson, JWTV. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe. Bell. Be back for more.
He's pretty good. Let's see if there's anything else out here before I go. That was scary. For bombing in Hawaii, like I predicted. I told y'all that a couple months ago, and y'all told me I was crazy. Well, now you've heard it from two people. The Lord of the Pedophile reigns on. I've seen that race yet. 19 minutes and 57 seconds. That was in Infineon Xfinity Series NASCAR Heat 2. Check it out. It's talking about Facebook censoring people and your freedom is gone. 12 tornadoes destroy Iowa. No surprise there. I told you it was coming. I warned y'all a couple of weeks ago when Chinese come in there. That's what's happening. Geostorming's taking down people. A shout out to the 370K subs. Kilauea volcano drone footage. They're finally showing drone footage, guys. Stormy Daniels arrested at the club, but she didn't get arrested. The charges were dropped, which I kind of seen that coming. I used to work at Charlie's, and the women don't supposed to touch you or touch any of the customers, and she didn't. They had footage. One of the customers had a phone, and they saved her. So appreciate the people out there that is doing the right thing for the mamas. Ghost particle found a mile beneath somewhere. Where's this at? Antarctica holds key to breakthrough in physics. I don't believe that. I think that's bull. Here we go. Mueller suspected of giving Podesta. Hold on. Podesta brothers secret immunity to indict Manafort. Well, if Podestas show up at that courtroom, they better have a bulletproof vest on because a lot of people know Lincoln Park got murdered by them. That's the people that killed Chester Bennington, the Podestas. Pizzagate, whatever you want to call them. I call them stupid idiots. And they're going to get dealt with. Serial brain tube decodes cues silence. We found out who you are. Yeah. Anything else out there? Nope. This could be the last race. I believe it is. It's going to be the last one. But I really appreciate all of y'all. More breaking news on Yellowstone. Let's see what this is. Breaking Yellowstone super volcano 100-foot fissure sparks park closure. Media silence. They're silent because they know it's about to happen. When you don't hear it from the news, you know it's going to happen. So, remember that. Let's talk a little bit of NASCAR 3, Heat 3. If you have not heard, NASCAR Heat 3 comes out September the 7th, 2018 on a Friday, not on a Tuesday this time. UPS decided to give out the game on a Friday since kids got to go to school. They're going to try to do this on a Friday. When you get out of school, you can go to the mall or GameStop or wherever you order it. Breaking news, which we already know about. Somebody's talking about this. I may stay on for this. Hillary Clinton's goons stalking ex-CIA Kevin Ship. He had an intruder, says Kevin Ship. Let's hear this. I've been wanting to hear this. I haven't had time to see a video. Excuse me, a video on this yet. So let's check it out. Why not? While I'm taking out the trollers for y'all. Hillary, you're a stupid idiot for bringing your goons to his house. I bet you they died. I bet you they died.
It's July 19th, 2018. This is the Twitter account here showing for Kevin Ship. He is a former CIA official. He just posted this message saying, after my speech exposing Hillary Clinton's connection to the shadow government, both of our cell phones have been bugged, confirmed by an expert. Our CCTVs remotely shut down, our internet accounts hacked, and we had an intruder at 6 a.m. yesterday. This is starting to get fun, he says, following up saying these people are so narcissistic. They are stupid. The more that they harass me and my wife, the more determined I get to expose them. Their only power is fear and intimidation. I became immune to that when I exposed the state secrets privilege. We are just ramping up our efforts. Finally, he said, only this has kept me safe since I came out in 2012, blasting out what they do full-bore in public. They keep doing it, I keep publicizing it. That's the dance. It is the only way to handle them. Staying out in the open, he's saying basically play by their rules, keep quiet, I imagine he means, and you are done. So Kevin Ship has been, whistleblower against the CIA. He's made written several books trying to expose his experience with the military, some of the things that happened to him during his time with the CIA. More recently, spoken out against Clinton. I think the speech he's talking about, he's referring to this video. I think that this is the most recent speech, and he does directly reference Clinton. It's titled, I think you can find it on YouTube. Kevin Ship exposes Clinton connections to the shadow government. So I have yet to watch that full lecture. It's a 2.5-hour lecture. It's just posted a few days ago. I just saw this message from Kevin Ship recently, so I'll go back, I guess, and watch that lecture, as he thinks that is one of the reasons that he's been a target lately. Going a little bit further, just looking at, I guess, some other statements also from Kevin Ship, the same ex-CIA officer, what he'd recently had to say about the Clintons. Again, he's been a whistleblower against the military and the deep state, or what he calls the shadow government in general, for a while. More recently, focusing on the Clintons. I'm going to quickly look at two articles. The first says Clinton charity fraud is the biggest scandal in U.S. history, according to Kevin Ship. I do have this article from USA Watchdog originally posted that. I have those links and the link to that lecture, which I believe is the lecture that Ship was talking about, in the video description if you want to look yourself. Just to pull a few highlights from this article, though, they say former CIA officer and whistleblower Kevin Ship says that the reason for all the crime and treason at the FBI and DOJ all boils down to one thing: the Clinton so-called charity, the Clinton Foundation. Ship explains that Hillary Clinton was running and is running a global financial crime syndicate. She was using these secret servers to conduct Clinton financial money laundering business. The shocking thing about that is all the former directors of the CIA that have come out to support her, from Clapper to Brennan. This article was written a few months ago, of course. Brennan has basically been calling openly for a military coup against the current president, against President Trump. They were supporting her. They've been supporting her since the election. Also, Robert Gates, others continue to support Clinton. They make up this crime syndicate, according to Kevin Ship. Comey also protecting it. He says Lynch was also protecting it. Wiseman protecting it, and that's the big why, according to Kevin Shipp. What has she got on these people? Are they financial ties? They've got to be aware of this, especially the counterintelligence units. We know it was hacked into by foreign intelligence services because it was just hanging out there. Hillary Clinton was running a secret server outside the Department of State for the purposes of laundering money through the criminal Clinton Foundation. There's a little bit more to that. Again, I have the article linked in the description. This is an even more recent one, just posted this week, right around the time of this the most recent speech given by Kevin Shipp, that he thinks, I guess, may have made him a target. He says that he's been bugged, hacked, and an intruder was sent after him after the speech that I've linked, and this recent article just from July 15th reads, former CIA officer and whistleblower Kevin Shipp says what Hillary Clinton did with her charity and Uranium One as well, while she was Secretary of State, was a crime for the history books. Shipp explains Hillary Clinton used this to launder money in foreign banks, so it wasn't subject to U.S. laws, congressional subpoenas, or Freedom of Information Act demands for the evidence. This was done to launder this money globally into the Clinton Foundation so the U.S. government could not examine it all. The article goes on to say Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller was the head of the FBI while the Uranium One deal was being done by Clinton and the Russians. 1/5 of the U.S. uranium's production was bought by the Russians in a deal Clinton pushed and approved. The Clinton Foundation then received more than $140 million from some of the same Russian players who were involved with Uranium One. Why didn't Mueller stop that deal? Shipp asks. Shipp says of this, Mueller is either a complete moron in his opinion, which he thinks that he's not. Mueller is not dumb enough, according to Shipp, to overlook the biggest counterterrorism cases in U.S. history. It involved Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, Uranium One, and of course the destruction of all the emails and evidence in her secret server, and on and on and on it goes. And Mueller, ignored it all. How did she get away with this obvious crime? Shipp asked. The most bizarre thing is the people who protected her. Again, making a similar point to the last article, the wide range of people protecting her from clear felonious activity and violations of the Espionage Act. James Clapper, Director of National Intelligence, was protecting her and leaking things to the media and lying. You had John Brennan, Director of the CIA, protecting her by starting a false investigation on Trump and stirring things up with this false, unverified dossier. Brennan again, even more recently, just calling for a straight-out military coup against Trump. You had James Comey, director of the FBI, also protecting Clinton. Then you had Peter Strzok protecting her, and now it appears the United Kingdom was using NSA information to target Donald Trump and protect Hillary Clinton. You have to ask yourself, what kind of power or connections does this woman have to get all of these members of the deep state, shadow government, to risk their own criminal penalties to protect her and try to get her elected? That is the shadow government. That is what the deep state is. That is what is so chilling about this whole thing, says Kevin Shipp. This is deep. This is dark. This is as dark as it gets, and this is the biggest espionage case involving government officials in the history of this country. Shipp also points out this time that it will not be business as usual for the deep state and the shadow government. He says they are going to be brought to justice. That's what Shipp thinks is going to be happening. He says that indictments are coming because of Donald Trump coming into the White House from the outside. Trump cannot be bribed. That's, I guess, what his opinion was that he was giving in this one interview that he gave of this recent speech. I guess it's worth looking at. I do have a link in the description again if you want to take a look yourself. I have the article links as well. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about all this. I have a link back to Kevin Shipp's Twitter to follow for more updates.
That is all, folks. Kevin Shipp. They tried to kill him. didn't get it done, but they did hack his Twitter account and his internet. Like I said, people need to start sharing my stuff. Clinton is trying to murder people because they know they're losing. Everyone, try to save this guy. He's a good guy. I'm out for the night. I really appreciate every one of y'all for watching. You know who you are. Thank you. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for everything. I see it all the time. We're over 300,000 views. Thank you, everyone. I love you all. God bless.